After further review will be starting in 5 minutes. Use this time to grab a drink so you can enjoy the show to the fullest. We hope you enjoy the podcast.
Sometimes art is prophetic, and sometimes I don't know how to offset it. The words too authentic to constantly do what I do and augment it. Y'all talk a big game, can't tell if y'all meant it. As seconds turns to minutes, the ticking will tell all. Will you hold firm or steadily fall? Will you conform with the ways of the world, or will you give the world everything that you are? Make them fuckers move around you, kinda like sound do. Break out of everything that they had you bound to. You got knocked down, ho, get ready for round two. It's round two. Get ready for round two. Come back, run rap, run laps around these cats, jump back, kiss myself, still keeping me intact. Weird and black, they for that, hold up, steer it back. Weird and black, they revere that, yup, you hear that?
Turnstile, switch it up. Young nigga raised hard, he learned not to give a fuck. Young nigga came far, still never give enough. Coming with the flavor, delicious, so she lick it up. Bust down, stick it up, I put it down, so pick it up. Scud town, saviors, done some till he shift to musk. Stench so stank that the shit compare soft to us. Crud so dank, make your face much dripping, cuz club go shake when the bass gets to hitting ya. They ain't really hearing us, but they gon' feel something when the way is paved clear enough. I don't fear nothing but the fate is God really not. Well, fuck it, got the world in my hands, and that's real enough. Fuck it, got the world in my hands, gold forms to touch. Might just spend it all one time to give it all to us. Yeah, give it all to us.
Yeah. This that hip-hop body, rock, hardcore, karate, chop, neo-Nazi, nasty, not feel it in my chest. How could you wear that name? Must be automatic shame. He's an automatic lame, heard it from the best. Fresh flow, let's go, plus I got a lot of heart. It's necessary when you dabble in this art. Grab canvas, paint picture, use them acrylics, paint a picture so vivid. The people gotta feel it like the Kaaba. Lyrics bear fruit like guava. Words spilling out of my brain like lava. Spills out the top of a volcano, and they know that A-Right is not the one to play. No, I'm Kano in Mortal Kombat, cause the lyrics like blades. Aim it at your juggler when I'm on stage. Until you heard me spit, homie, you ain't heard rage. On another chapter, so turn a turn. Okay, got that out my system. A-Right on another planet, dog, you must have missed them. When I do it, how I do it's of my own volition. Go make my destination even in the worst condition. My crew's the Blues Brothers, cause you know we on a mission. Eternity of roses I make bumping in your system. I mean, banging it, and I'm still hanging it. And I got a gang of wisdom, I got a gang of rhythms. I got a lot of soul, I found the pot of gold. I'm wrapping that shit up, gon' sell it to the globe. I got some game to give them, they don't really want, but they really need it. And I want you to succeed, I want you to be free. I want you to remove every obstacle from being what you truly wanna be. I truly wanna see, and I can only lead by example. So here's a sample for me, so get up.
I would like to be traded to any other team but the New England Patriots.
Big brain predictions. That's what I got.
Take it off, sir.
This Washington football team beat the Steelers.
All right.
And that person.
EDP.
Yes, but if we lose this game, I firmly believe we do not need to make playoffs. So
Don't you ever disrespect
What's going on, folks? What is going on? Welcome back to your favorite show on the internet. After further review, this is episode 102. I'm your co-host, Jalen Brown.
I'm your other wonderful co-host, Shaquille Brown.
One week in 102 episodes as we just cross our T's, dot our I's. 1 week of NFL football already down.
And the most interesting week. So
Yeah, how'd you guys enjoy week one?
some games were snooze fest and others were not.
I didn't have to do this last week, so I forgot.
Jalen's over here trying to make small talk to
She was like, so what did you guys
What you guys eat for
dinner? Week one was pretty amazing. I think I said this to you on Monday night that I think that the 1 o'clock games, that was probably the best finish to a set of 1 o'clock games that I think I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Just so many games coming down to the wire. Some teams didn't want to win.
Nope, not at all.
Got one of those mine.
one of them really didn't want to win.
They say that a tie is like kissing your sister, then Pittsburgh was trying to find theirs, and so was Cincy and a few other teams. So it was definitely interesting. But yeah, it was good.
On that, let's open up our show the best way.
Taking a shot to Bill and talking about kissing sisters.
I'm talking about you kissing your sister.
Where do you hope people don't watch the show now?
Jalen, that's the best you could do with my camera angle, by the way. Jesus Christ, sir. Can we?
You want it higher, lower?
I want it not so fixated on my nipples. That'd be wonderful.
Well, I don't know exactly how to do that, but
I don't know.
let's see.
Yeah.
Let me know if that's
Check.
better.
Jack, why don't you tell everybody where they can listen to us at?
We go live on just basically all types of streaming networks.
Mainly YouTube.
Mainly YouTube. That's the most important one. You can watch us live every Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. And if you ain't got no time, guess what? It goes up on YouTube so you can watch it at your own leisure.
As soon as we hit end.
Yes. We do have an audio version. For some reason, you don't want to look at our wonderful faces, so you can always go do that. I don't know why you wouldn't. Just look at us.
Stupid.
Exactly.
Some people ain't got a big enough TV.
All right.
Your projector.
Side of the house.
This beer, I knew that we've had it before, but upon tasting it, it brought back some memories. So we're in for a treat.
Was it one of our forever long episodes that we had this on?
I think so.
There
This
you go.
did a number on me last time. So
The stars are aligning.
anyway,
I saw the Moose Killer and I was like, yeah.
no, that cannot be allowed. That should be banned in the U.S. Let's get into the show this week, shall we?
Let's do it.
We are going to start off recapping this NFL Week 1, and we're going to start with the first game of the season, which was, of course, Buffalo and L.A. The Rams won 31-10. First half was close, and then the second half was not. So, with that being said, Shaq, I'll start with you. do you think that the Rams fans should be worried with how their team's looking?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I does not look optimistic for me when it comes to, especially their whole quarterback offensive situation. A little worrisome to me, in my opinion, but that's just me.
Is it worrisome to you because you have him on your fantasy team?
The man threw a shitload of picks, scored 7 points for me, and it's very worrisome. I feel like a certain quarterback that I set on my bench scored more than twice the amount of points that homeboy scored.
Are there any reasons outside of Matthew Stafford that they should be worried?
I'm just saying that team, if Matthew Stafford does not perform, I feel like that team is not strong enough to not perform without him doing well. So that's my opinion.
Okay, Malin.
Your question is, should Rams fans be worried? No. Want to know why? Because they're not used to winning a Super Bowl, but every 20 years anyway. So why should they be worried? It's like, do they really think that they're going to run it back again? Is Whitworth still there? No, he's not. Is Von Miller still there? No, he's not. His Illuminati ass is playing for Buffalo to just whoop their ass. So they have offensive line issues. And when you have offensive line issues and you are Cam Akers and you completely miss a block and get your quarterback blown up and you get in the doghouse with McVay, so you have 0 fantasy points, that's not good either because Henderson is not a bell cow running back. Okay. This is a team that went to a Super Bowl like 4 years ago with Jared Goff. So I don't think it's Matthew Stafford that's the problem.
Right.
The problem is that once you start paying everybody, you no longer have the money depth. You just don't have it. So then when you lose people, it hurts. So you can't have Bobby Wagner, Ramsey, Donald, Stafford, Kupp, all of them making like top 5 money at their positions and think that you're going to have enough money to go around to get quality depth people. So I know you said the game was tied at 10 at half, and so it was close, but did it really feel close though?
No, it did not.
It never felt like LA was really in the game. It was just Buffalo shot themselves in the foot 2 times in the first quarter. There was like a tip pass that was intercepted. Ramsey looks like, a piece of burnt toast right now. Watching his smug ass get worked up and down the field like a piece of bacon left on a frying pan too long was just freaking awesome. I loved every bit of that. But like the Bills are who we thought they were.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Allen, 297 yards, 3 touchdowns. He trucked Bobby Wagner for another touchdown. That was kind of embarrassing. I still don't like seeing him in a Rams uniform. It kind of seems like the only 2 people that showed up in that game was Aaron Donald and Cooper Kupp.
Yep. Seemed like it.
Yeah, Kupp, 13 catches, 128 yards and a touchdown. Aaron Donald, even though like not everything he does ends up on the stat sheet, I know he at least had 1 sack, but he was just wreaking havoc. For the most part, getting Allen outside the pocket, but it didn't matter if he got Allen outside the pocket because Allen's Allen. And he has, Davis and Diggs and everybody else. I don't know. I just thought that it was a little bit of a lackluster performance, and I think we were all talking about how odd it was that the Bills were favored in LA after LA won the Super Bowl, and it was at their house. And then Vegas kind of showed up being right on that one by a large margin. It's kind of embarrassing.
Yeah, I don't think that this should be. I think there should be definitely cause for concern. I think that Rams fans will probably know if they should be seriously worried within the next 2 weeks or so. Right now, it's just like they should be on a heightened alert, but I wouldn't say it's time to panic. The Bills looked like they just picked up right where they left off in the playoffs last year. So I mean, they just came out with a head of steam, and they had some kinks to work out. But by the time the second half came around, they worked out those kinks and were just steamrolling them. So, Bills, I don't really have much to add on, but the Rams, like you said, Malin, Cup, and Donald were really the only two bright sides of the Rams. Everything else looked like a mess, and yeah, it's just a matter of, is that just week one mess, or is that a serious mess?
And if the Rams were in the AFC, I'd be very worried.
Yeah.
The NFC is more wide open. So, are they still the favorite to win the division? Yes. What it really comes down to is, after what they lost, are they good enough to get back to a Super Bowl? And we can say all we want about Stafford and that elbow injury, and it kind of seems like some sort of the worst kept secret in the NFL, really, about how bad it is. But I mean, he was check down Charlie.
Yeah.
He wasn't pushing the ball up the field. He wasn't creating space. He
Right.
wasn't making the safeties be honest and stay in the back. They were crowding the line of scrimmage. And so with Akers not getting any touches, Henderson he's just a guy. And Cooper Kupp out there being the only receiver that Stafford seemed to ever want to throw the ball to. It just kind of, at the end of the month, we'll be able to really tell if they're in trouble. But they're still in line to probably end up winning the division.
Shout out to G Money in the live chat, which you can join if you watch us live every Wednesday night. He says, I said last week, aside from Kupp, who do the Rams have to throw to? Which is a very good point. Unless Kupp was wide open, it seemed like just nothing was going on, and their run game was just non-existent. I think they didn't even hit crack 100 yards total as a team. It was pretty bad.
Coming from a man who has Akers and Stafford both on his fantasy, Stafford, who did absolutely nothing last week, clearly it's a process. We're learning.
Listen, your quarterback wasn't Joe Burrow. You don't get to talk.
Speaking of Joe Burrow,
but who was the wide receiver the Rams picked up in free agency?
Allen Robinson.
Allen Robinson. Where the hell was he?
Yeah, I think
he's
targeted maybe 4 times.
I think he had 2 targets and no catches.
Yeah, 2 targets
in the game. Is that? Do you guys think that's a product because Stafford didn't play in the preseason? He didn't practice a lot in camp because of the elbow, or?
I'm chalking it up to that as just he's brand new there and lack of preseason for Stafford and elbow. I'm also chalking it up to that as an optimist because I have Allen Robinson on a fantasy team, so I'm hoping that's the case. But
and one more thing before we move on. Best tweet of the night in that game was by OBJ hyping up Bills Mafia. What a shit show that is. That man went from holding the Lombardi to start the game.
Yeah.
To then hyping up Bills Mafia. I was like, what?
That's
God, man.
That's all some OBJ shit.
OBJ.
Oh, that's great. If he ends up with Buffalo, I'm just gonna laugh.
Moving on to the next game in the recap here. Going into Shaq's team, the Steelers did beat out the Bengals in overtime, 23-20. With that being said, Shaq, are you more concerned with your offense or Cincinnati's? I think I already know your answer here, but
I'm more concerned about my offense on a whole. Is the fact that Cincinnati gave up so many turnovers to us on a whole, and we still had to take it into overtime to decide this game. This should have ended in regulation. Just saying.
Yes.
We got lucky with that block kick that led us into overtime. We lost SWAT off of basically almost probably the rest of the season, to be honest with you. Najee might be hurt. So it's kind of like we won this game, but at the same time, it leads us to more concerning questions of where do you go from here? From a season that might be salvageable because key players and then
Jesus.
half these key players fall to injury. Where did we fall in this process now? Now we're just reaching that winning record that we were like, oh yeah, Tomlin is still gonna get us a winning record too.
Okay. Well, you're 1-0. Go ahead, man.
All right. Jones upset because he's
Jack,
1-1 and I'm over here being negative about my team.
Well, I mean, Shaq, you need to learn to live life a little bit, man. You're 1-0 for Christ's sakes. Like who
Yes.
sits at 1-0 and thinks
It's
you know,
over.
probably the end of the season for us. It's already over. Like how bad did Morgan hurt you a few years ago with that Washington football team when you were 11-0?
It was
man?
down. It was the start of the fall after that one. We basically almost did not win the game after that whole Morgan soccer bet.
God damn, man. I'm about to phone a friend and get Saturn's rings to give you a hug or something because goddamn, that just you're making me sad over here, man. But okay, so yes. The Steelers beat the Bengals 23-20. In the last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter, you were like, Bengals are actually going to pull this off. This is actually kind of ridiculous. Like, Burrow had 4 interceptions and 1 fumble loss, like 5 turnovers himself
Yeah.
in the game. And yet the more inept offense ended up being Pittsburgh's. Because they couldn't put points to, now here's the crazy thing. Cincy with 5 turnovers, 432 yards of offense. Pittsburgh, 267 yards of offense with 5 turnovers. 5 of them. 1 of them was returned for a touchdown. Well, I think Pittsburgh only scored 1 touchdown in the whole game.
Yeah.
So, you know, Mitchell Trubisky, 21 of 38, 194 yards and a touchdown. Wasn't that great. You want to know why the offense really wasn't rolling, though? And this kind of pisses me off because this guy is on my fantasy team. You know who the leading rusher was?
I have no idea.
For Pittsburgh? Yeah, Claypool. 6 rushes for 36 yards. Shaq, what I would tell you is never buy another Steelers jersey. Like, just don't do it. Why is Claypool leading the team in rushing? That makes no fucking sense to me. Najee Harris had 27 yards rushing. I was like, what the? Really? So, I don't know. Cincinnati had 32 first downs to, I think, Pittsburgh's 13 the whole game. So they shot off every single one of their toes on their left foot, and they still pulled it into overtime. The only reason why Pittsburgh won this game was because the long snapper for the
Bengals
for Cincinnati got hurt, tore some muscle. I don't know which muscle. Maybe it's groin muscle. I don't give a shit. But he made McPherson look like a bitch, which was Mr. Money last year. Got blocked, shanked it. I mean, that 29-yard field goal, Hamner threw it over the holder's head, and then he pulled a Ray Finkel and put the laces inside, so he's going to get stabbed by somebody. So might be Einhorn, who is the transgender detective in Ace Ventura, but that's not appropriate anymore, so we're probably getting canceled. But yeah,
because that's just going to cancel the show.
It was a very entertaining game. It was a very entertaining game to watch. I was a little bit pissed off that my starting quarterback for fantasy was at -4 points. Going into halftime, -4 points. Like he would turn it over, then he would make up the points throwing yards, and then he would turn it over again. I was in the twilight zone.
Mine was at 0 come halftime, so I was much better. I just want to say this: Millen basically almost said the same shit I did, but then you get ridiculed for dogging out the Steelers for.
He did nowhere in there did he say that the season was over.
It might as well be. It might as well be.
No, listen. Watt is only going to be out like 6 weeks, maybe 8 weeks. I will say this: that Cincinnati was able to move the ball more regularly.
Picture this though. Okay. Picture 8 weeks out and the division that we're in. 8 weeks out, with if Cincinnati steps it up, goes back to the norm, of good, and with Baltimore 8 weeks out of no him.
It's not good.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like you come back to a very tough division, and
let's be realistic. Let's not call Cincinnati winning games as being the norm. They were still 10-7 last year. Like, they got into the playoffs, but it's not like they were a world beater. They weren't 13-4, 14-3, or anything like that. You got the Browns with Jacoby Brissett that passed for 147 yards and barely beat the Carolina Panthers led by Baker Mayfield. Okay, so you're looking at the Ravens that are a very good squad. Cincy is a good squad, but by all accounts, Cincy still doesn't have an offensive line, right?
Yep.
I mean, they held Burrow out of preseason because they didn't want to get hurt, and then I don't know who they put out there at the offensive line, but it looked like a bunch of wet paper towels because that man was getting smacked around like nobody's business. So yes, what needs to happen is Najee Harris needs to put some wart medication on his fucking foot and get his foot better. Claypool shouldn't be the leading rusher. But the defense is not just all Watt. That is still a very good defense.
Yeah, I give you that.
I think they're still going to win.
I'm just saying that the average records for the Steelers were 9-8. Average records for this show. And that's with a full, healthy roster.
Right. I mean, we'll see. It really does not help when you lose your best player for a substantial period of time. This game, though, I think it was just a bit more. Excuse me. I think it's a bit more concerning for, probably for Pittsburgh's offense. It's kind of hard to say. G Money is a very good point. He says he's more concerned with Cincinnati because their new offensive line looks just like their old offensive line. And that's just going to get Joe Burrow injured again. So I 1,000% agree with that. But, I mean, that old offensive line did get into a Super Bowl last year. So, I don't know. Pittsburgh, on the other hand, it is really telling when your defense can give you that many chances and you just cannot cash in those checks. Like, that's really bad. Every time I looked at the damn TV, it's picked off the ball again and they scooped up a fumble and was like, what the hell's happening? And at the end of the game, it goes to overtime. Like, what? The sad part is when Cincinnati was driving down to go tie the game up and there was like 10 seconds left on the clock, I don't know if there was anybody in America that doubted they're going to score a touchdown here. Like, it was without a shadow of a doubt. I knew they were going to tie that thing up.
I thought that they were going to end in a tie because Pittsburgh offense had not moved the ball down the field like that the entire game. Like, Cincy's defense, I don't know if they were tired because they had to play so many snaps, but they folded. Like, I don't know. They just folded. They were playing like a prevent defense. They were scared to give up a big play, yet they hadn't given up really a big play defense like the whole game. So I don't know why they started to call defensive plays that were so conservative.
Yeah.
But I thought it was going to end up a tie. The only other thing I'll say about this game is that Cooper Kupp is getting a whole lot of press about how he played so well, right? Like I said, the 13 catches, 120 yards and a touchdown. Listen, man, Chase, 10 catches, 129 yards and a touchdown too. Like, he was right there with him.
Yeah.
As far as just being lights out. But I do think that the Cincinnati also lost Tyler Boyd, didn't they?
Yeah, that's right.
So now they lost one of their weapons too. So,
which I do want to go back to Mel's message that he sent us about like key players for the week. Oh, Fitzpatrick. I feel like Homeboy definitely was truly one of the most impactful players of all, not just this game, but like out of all players between that return pick six that he got, and it was him that blocked the field goal, if I'm not mistaken.
It was.
Yeah,
it was.
No, he blocked the extra point.
The extra point that forced it to go into overtime. So I'm kind of like, this man this man very much did his best to make sure this team stayed
right. It's like you guys do have a lot of other key players outside of Watt on the defensive side of the ball. But anyway,
that secondary and those safeties are They're legit.
Yeah. Moving on to the next game. I really did not want to talk about this, but the Dolphins did beat my Patriots 20-7 in the mildly warm 200 degrees Celsius Miami, Florida. 20-7 is the final score. I'll just go first on this one. I posed the question on a scale of 1 to 10. How impressed were you with Miami's new offense? I'm going to give them a 7. I guess my own team, I was fairly impressed. The big question was like, is the Tyreek thing going to work out? Is the new head coach going to work out? And clearly Tyreek did just fine. Tua was looking for him pretty much the entire game. Jalen Waddle played pretty well. He had a couple of really big catches. They played a solid game on offense. I wouldn't say it was great, but there's clearly a lot of potential there, and it seems like they're just kind of just getting started. My own team, on the other hand, Jesus Christ, defensively, I don't really have much to say. I mean, they tried. Offensively, it was just an absolute mess. It looked good for like 2 minutes, and then it did not look good at all. And once that interception was thrown, which should have been a pass interference, if we're all going to be fair, it should have been a pass interference that just wasn't called, but it is what it is. It just unraveled, and Mac Jones looked like he needed a Slurpee or something to sit on the sideline, cool off. I don't know, but it was just an absolute mess. So 7 is my answer for that question. Shaq, go ahead.
I'm going to give them an 8. I was very impressed. Granted, we had high expectations between Waddle, Tyreek, and Tua. I mean, if this is week 1 with the chemistry going on, I feel like as long as they can stay healthy, the chemistry is only getting better. I feel like from here on out. And especially once you start figuring out how to distribute the ball between Waddle and Tyreek, and defense is going to have one absolute shit show trying to cover that. So I give them an 8, and I don't want to sit here and hype up a certain fan that we have on the show, the Miami Dolphins, because it really irks. I hate the Dolphins for my own personal reasons, but I hate the Dolphins.
I hate the Dolphins as well, amen.
Exactly. So I don't want to see them thrive, but like they could possibly do a lot better than they have in the past couple of seasons. And I see them very much make a very big impact. And they might end up being a big factor come late season when it comes to playoff talk and everything. So,
I think the game really came down to turnovers. New England had 3 and Miami had none. I mean, when you really look at it, at the end of the day, Miami only had about like 35, 36 more yards than New England did.
Yeah.
Miami had 304, 307. I think Miami had like 270. I was in the middle of typing up a post on how well New England's offense was looking on that drive.
Yeah.
And then the interception happened, and then I had to erase the whole goddamn thing. I was like, oh shit, look at this offense. Everybody was clowning two defensive coordinators, calling the plays, and look at this offense moving up against Miami.
You could imagine how I was feeling.
My heart sunk for you when I saw it, because like you said, it should have been defensive pass interference. They should have had the ball first and goal at the 1. I was surprised that there was not a flag. I was expecting a flag on that. But at the end of the day, I mean, Tua was what Tua was last year.
Yep.
23 of 33 for 270 and 1 touchdown. I don't think that Tyreek Hill made that much of a difference in their offense that day. I think they just played clean game, and New England played a sloppy game. And it's one of the first times that I've kind of really felt like Belichick is being a reactionary coach. And it's like he's coaching on his heels instead of like stepping into it. Because I mean, when was the last time you heard about Bill Belichick bringing a team
Thank you.
to a place on like a Tuesday because you need to get ready for the weather? Like,
I was just about to
like,
say
I-
that really helped us on, Bill.
yeah,
Thanks.
Like it just, I don't know. It just feels like he's kind of grasping at straws a little bit. I still don't know why the man didn't hire an offensive coordinator. It makes no fucking sense to me.
Nope.
But I don't think that Jones played bad.
Yeah,
I think
me neither.
Jones, I think he played average. I mean, he was 21 to 30. That's not bad with not only 213 yards and one touchdown and that one interception, but the fumbles hurt him. And so I don't know. I just think that at the end of the day, I wouldn't completely write off New England. I wouldn't go as far to say, oh well, New England's going to be terrible. Because they normally lose in Miami for
Right.
some reason, passing understanding. Maybe it's the Bermuda Triangle. I don't know what it is, but they seem to have a hard time playing in Miami. So that's just kind of par for the course for me. So we'll see what they do going forward. But I mean, hey, they've started 0-2 before and won a Super Bowl.
Well, I'm hoping they start.
So I'm not going to count out Bill Belichick yet.
I hope we got to start 0-2 this season because we see y'all next week.
Well, see about that.
I mean, listen, if anyone actually really thinks that Shaq's going to pick his own Steelers and a ride it out, they're just being funny because Shaq hates his own team. Shaq just wants to be miserable.
Well, as much as the man called me a bandwagon team, nobody dogs on my own team more than me. So yeah, I'll go ahead and keep hating on me and my
That is true. You do a good job of dogging on him too. You do
I'm an honest
a
man.
stand-up job. On that.
All right. On Monday night, the Seahawks did defeat the Broncos 17-16. Don't let the score fool you.
Goddamn
It was a
right.
very entertaining game. Malin, I'm going to go to you first. What is the biggest reason your Seahawks were able to win this game?
To me, there were two reasons. One, defense. I think our defense did exactly what they needed to do. They played opportunistic. They rattled Russell Wilson. I don't think he was ever really truly comfortable.
Yep.
I think the number one biggest reason, let's not kid ourselves, it was two things. It was the two fumbles at the goal line. It was that missed field goal. But
Yep.
I will say that I do think that the fans played a huge part in Russell Wilson being uncomfortable, because I honest to God believe that Russell Wilson woke up that day thinking that he wasn't going to get booed. The only reason why I think that is because it kind of seemed like nobody outside of Seattle in the media thought that Russell Wilson was going to get booed.
Yeah.
Like, there were so many things on Tuesday. Oh, that was so disrespectful for Seattle to boo Russell Wilson because everything that he had done for them. And I was like, okay, yeah, but he wanted out. Like, why would we give the quarterback a coronation and make him feel comfortable in a away stadium?
Mm.
And so I think he was actually kind of rattled by that a little bit. He had some numbers. Okay. He was 29 of 42 for 340 yards and a touchdown. I will add, though, his one touchdown was a 64-yard pass to Judy.
Mm-hmm.
My brother predicted for fantasy reasons. I kicked him out of my house for that. I didn't, but he did leave at halftime. But that was a severely underthrown ball. And Judy had to make a hell of a play to catch it. The defender fell down. He ran for a touchdown. Outside of that, when they were in the red zone, why did Denver put themselves in position to have two running backs fumble the football inside the 5? Maybe because inside the red zone, Russell Wilson threw 12 passes and none of them resulted in an interception. In fact, he only had a 48% completion percentage inside the red zone during that game. So everyone looks at it like Russell Wilson had a good game because he threw for 340 yards and a touchdown. He did have 69% passing, but he didn't do anything in the red zone. And I'm just going to say this about the field goal thing because I think that everybody looked at that whole thing transpiring and they like buried Hackett for that, right? About the fact that they had like a minute 20, then they wasted a whole minute in the clock and burned a timeout or whatnot. I have a little bit of different take on what happened. This might not be popular, and you might call me a hater for this, but I don't think Russell Wilson wanted the ball in that moment. About it. If he goes 4th and 5 and he misses it and they lose, the narrative is Russell Wilson came up short against the Seahawks. But because they put it in the hands of the kicker missed a 64-yard field goal, Russell Wilson, by and large, on the national scale, came out unscathed. Yes, he lost. He came out unscathed in the sense that he didn't lose the game. They felt like, oh, the ball was taken from him. But he looked completely fine to me on the sideline, letting that kicker go for a 64-yard field goal. He looked totally content. He did not look upset that he wasn't on the field for that 4th and 5. And it looked to me during that minute that Hackett was looking at his quarterback on the field, wanting to see what he was going to do, what he was going to want to do, and Wilson wasn't doing anything. Like, I personally believe that Russell Wilson did not want to be the one to lose the game. So I think they had the plan. I think that they heard, oh, yeah, I'm good from 46. But like even who's the old defensive coordinator that was for the Patriots that coached the Jets? Mangini. Mangini even said, he was like, you know what? I've been in a lot of pregame meetings. Never once have we ever had the conversation of, hey, you know what, at the end of the game, we're good at the 46-yard line for the kicker. Like, nobody has that conversation like, you know what, yeah, we're good for a 64-yard field goal, considering the fact that there's only been 33 field goals attempted outside 62 yards in the last 30 years. And only 6% of those have been made. Only 6%. This guy, McManus, has never kicked a 62-yard field goal before in his life, much less a 64-yarder, and they had a 44.6% chance of converting that 4th and 5. So they went from a 44% chance of completing 4th and 5, which then, even if they only got 5 yards, would have given them a 62.8% chance of making that field goal, and opted for the 6% chance to win. Like, that doesn't make any fucking sense to me. So, at the end of the day, my Seahawks won pretty much the only game that I really care about that they win the entire year. The rest of the time, we can go ahead and suck for Bryce Young. I really don't give a shit. Because we beat Russell Wilson. He got to, let's ride off into the sunset and take that L, buddy. I think whoever is running the social media page for the Seattle Seahawks deserves a raise because they roasted shit out of him. With the three amigos, with the pictures they did, I mean, mocking him for the Let's Ride. I don't know if you guys saw the video on Twitter of the missed field goal with Russell Wilson superimposed in the lower left side, doing his little TV spot where he was doing like the Let's Ride like over and over and over and over again. Where he was like, Broncos country, let's ride. Broncos country, let's ride. Like, they showed that while they were missing the field goal. That was gold. I thought the whole thing was just amazing. One of the better wins that I've been able to experience. And on top of that, former players were roasting the shit out of Russell Wilson on social media. Richard Sherman out there saying, yeah, I guess goal line situations are still tough. Woof. Damn. Doug Baldwin was his favorite wide receiver, put out a cryptic tweet that seemed to kind of be bashing Russell Wilson a little bit. It was there were a lot of players. I think the count was 14 players from the Super Bowl win were on the Seahawks sideline during that game. Like, what? To me, that would be kind of a red flag. Like, how bad of a teammate was he? Like, how cornball how goofy or how well did he not get along with people to where like his own former teammates that he won a Super Bowl with clowning him after they lost. Like that never happened with Peyton Manning or Tom Brady. You know what I mean? Like Tom Brady to go back to New England and get clowned on by former teammates.
Right.
So I don't know. It was a good night for me though. I'll tell you that much. Great night.
I think if I'm gonna answer my own question, the biggest reason I would say that it was Seattle's defense for sure. I mean, their red zone defense was unbelievable. They were just determined. I don't know what the bulletin board material, I'm sure, was pretty funny, but whatever Pete Carroll told them probably boiled down to one thing. I don't give a damn what y'all do. When it comes down to that red zone, do not let that man score the ball, because they just put up a wall and would not let, at all costs, would not let the Broncos score a damn touchdown when they needed to. So huge props to them. It was clearly like a bone to pick. They were like, no, you're not scoring on us. We don't care. Two other things I do want to throw in there that I think did play a big factor. Definitely the crowd. That place was insanely loud just on TV. I can't imagine how loud it probably was there in person. And I think it played a part in rattling Russell Wilson. And then two, I got to give Geno Smith some props. He played some good football. Like, he went out there and didn't try and do too much, played within his capacity, and just didn't do any, stupid stuff. He was like, yo, I'm just going to go out here and play solid football.
Can I say something about Geno Smith?
Go ahead.
Played a really good half of football.
That sounds
a really good half of football. He was 17 of 18 with 2 touchdowns in the first half. He was 6 of 10, like 68 yards in the second half. Like, he was not. There was no Geno magic happening in the second half.
No.
And I do need to point out that, listen, there's probably Seattle fans because they're fucking weird. They're going out and buying Geno Smith jerseys right now. Go ahead, waste your $120. The 2 touchdowns he threw were busted coverages.
Yeah, they were.
You had, on the first one, Denver was playing man coverage. Just decided not to cover Disley. Like, he was as wide open as anybody can get in the NFL. Like, there was nobody within like 15 yards of him. Okay. The second one, they were playing zone defense. The defensive back stayed with Lockett. He didn't stay in his zone, and so the linebackers thought they were getting deep help from the safeties of the defensive back, but they were playing man while everyone else was playing zone, so it was another busted cover. So it's not like he was precision Tom Brady throwing it into tight coverage and doing crazy stuff like that. The biggest thing that we need from Geno Smith this year is just don't fuck it up. Like, don't turn the ball over, and he didn't do that, so that was good. But I mean, yeah, let's not kid ourselves and start, making T-shirts with Geno.
Yeah. He just, I think he just averaged out just some solid football. Don't lose the fucking game. That's it. Shaq, any comments?
No, it's very entertaining. Solid game. I enjoy watching this game. Happy for Maryland.
I'm happy for me. And listen, in all fairness, America, I told Jalen to stay the hell away from that game on the Ride or Die at 5 last week. I was like, do not make me pick this game, because if you're putting money on it, you had to go Broncos. You had to think the Broncos were going to win that game just with the talent and everything like that. But I didn't want to have to pick that game because I didn't want to feel bad for losing a game that I could have gained on Shaq. And then feel the slightest bit bad about winning that game. So I'm really glad we stayed away from it. We did win. It was beautiful. Love it.
All right, folks. That does it for our recap of week 1. For hour 3, we'll be going into the news.
It's only been 1 hour.
Today's top stories and breaking news.
No,
I gave like a whole essay dissertation on the Steelers, and Jack's comment about my game was, Nice win. Happy for Good insight.
Now for the news. We got a lot of nonsense in the news this week, but we're going to start with the Dak Prescott injury. Messed up his right thumb in the Cowboys' loss to the Bucks. Jesus, this was to the Cowboys. This was like when the Queen died a few days ago. But fortunately, Dak Prescott will be back in about 4 or 5 weeks or so, as at the earliest, to hopefully play the LA Rams. Yeah, I guess he just had surgery on his hand, so now it's just a matter of healing time. What do you guys think about D. Prescott coming up with another injury and now Cooper Rush having to take over the reins?
That's such a Cowboys thing to happen. Oh, we're losing my thumb. Oh, shit. This man is the most paper thin. It's that episode of SpongeBob. We got the homeboy. He's got like, the cast around his body. Just
tumbles down those 3 steps and shatters everything again.
Exactly. Fragile. I feel like every other week you hear about this man hurting something. It's like it's such a Cowboys thing. I bet any money if they were like blowing the shit out of the Bucks' back this whole entire first game.
Man, my thumb's strong.
Came out here flexing, came out here open chested shirt, telling y'all how to do the shit, but they're losing, and man comes down with fragile bones.
I have nothing to add to this. God, I can't stand this team.
I can't.
So dramatic.
I want to know what they slipped into Jerry Jones's coffee, bourbon, or whatever the hell it is he thinks. Where all of a sudden, like an injury that should take 6 to 8 weeks, all of a sudden is only going to take like 4 to 5 weeks.
Yeah.
The man literally had his hand cut open, put a pin and a plate into his thumb. Do you guys remember Russell Wilson last year?
Yeah.
Hurt. Remember what he looked like when he came back too early? Looked good, did he? Got his ass beat by Green Bay. What do you think is probably going to happen to the Cowboys against the Rams if Dak tries to play in that game? The 70% Prescott is not better than 100% Cooper Rush. I think they need to give him the time to heal. I think that their season is in a lot of jeopardy because they did not do a good job managing the roster in the offseason. They definitely needed him to stay healthy. And so I don't see how he makes it back in 4 to 5 weeks. I mean, now listen, I'm by no means have the type of medical personnel that Dak has around him, but I broke my pinky last year, and that damn thing still don't feel right. It took like 4 months just for me to make a fist again. So I don't see it. I think he said what he said about 4 to 5 weeks because I think he still wants to give fans hope, and I think he wants to stay in a news cycle.
Yep.
He's a great businessman. How else can the team that's been a loser for 25 years become the most
26 in a few months?
26. Like he bought them for I think 180 or 190 million dollars. Wins 3 Super Bowls in 5 years and nothing for 26 years. Yet the team's worth $6 billion now.
That team's
it's not because he's a good general manager. It's because he is a good businessman.
Good marketer. Jesus Christ!
And this is how he keeps them in the news cycle.
The Queen has lived the last quarter of her life watching his team be god awful. Think of it that way. The Queen has lived the last quarter of her life watching the Cowboys be like god fucking awful.
The Queen decided to die before the Cowboys played on primetime again. That should tell you something. She's like, I'm fucking not doing this.
I know the story.
I know the ending already. I ain't gonna stall the last couple months of my life for no reason at all. I spent most of my life, literally most of my life, watching the Cowboys be god awful.
My entire life, too.
Yes.
I've never seen them do nothing.
I do think that you can probably pencil in Philly as being like the division winners. You can pencil it. I wouldn't
go ahead.
pin it. I wouldn't pin it.
The worst
I wouldn't
division of
pin it.
football?
I would pencil it.
I don't think it's as bad as it
no,
usually
but that's
is.
because they are one of the worst divisions in football. So I still think it's anyone's shot. I mean, I just put the graphic up a few weeks ago in our general chat that the Washington football team has more division titles in the last 12 years
You did. Not to
than anybody else.
not to get their show canceled once again, but it's like be the tallest midget out of the process. It's kind of like, yeah. I was like, how much is that worth?
I don't know, Shaq. It's not like you and I have anything to talk about because Philly in that division has won Super Bowl before our teams have.
We don't worry about that type of thing
lately.
though.
Well, you can thank Bill Belichick for that one.
Exactly.
So, there you
Philly
go.
also has the worst
But
fan
no,
base in football. So
I just think that you could pencil them in. The only thing that I think could really kind of disrupt Philly is if Saquon Barkley actually stays healthy, because he was a beast.
So nothing's
Sunday.
disrupting Philly.
I don't know. I'm just saying that I think that Philly's defense is a little bit overrated. How the hell they let Detroit come back and 3 points in the fourth quarter?
How do you let Detroit score 35 points? God.
Dan Campbell halfway through the fourth quarter was like, go put the grill on in the locker room. We're gonna smoke up some kneecaps over here because we're coming back, baby. Coming back. And they damn near almost pulled it off, man. Like that was fucking crazy. Like that game should have been over with at halftime.
Yeah.
Somehow Philly is not that talented to where they can play just one half of football.
I still
the
think
time.
that Super Bowl
that's
they
gonna
won.
catch up to them.
I still think that Super Bowl they won was a fluke. Like I think back about it, it's like
I just say thank Bill Belichick. That's what gave you your ring. Old ass conceited man.
exactly. And y'all won't see another one
I
for a
don't
long
know.
time. My children will be
I don't-
adults before the Phillies sees another Super Bowl. So
I don't know. I do think that was a really good Philly roster.
It was too.
The fact that Nick Foles was the one that led them to the promised land was a little bit weird. Everybody forgets that Carson Wentz actually had them, I think, 12-2 when he got hurt against the Rams that year. He was actually balling out. But no, so I think Dallas is over. I think their season is probably it could potentially be 1-5 after the next 6 weeks. No, I'm being serious though, man.
I agree.
What else did that team show you? We're going to talk about
Absolutely
it in the
nothing.
week, so I don't want to get on any more than that. But offense didn't show you anything. Zeke Elliott ain't wearing his shirt up during pregame anymore, showing people a six pack because he got a keg like me. That man's half my age. He got a dad bod like me right now. That's ridiculous. So yeah, Dallas is done, and Jerry Jones looks like the fucking crypt keeper. He needs to just something. Jesus.
All right, let's get into some nonsense for the news because we have two situations that are just completely nonsense. So starting with the Brett Favre thing, there was a report that revealed that the former governor of Mississippi, Phil Bryant, helped Brett Favre obtain welfare funds in order to help build a new volleyball center at the University of Southern Mississippi, which I believe his daughter, Brett Favre's daughter, plays for the volleyball team, which is why he had any kind of interest there. But state auditors determined that nonprofit leaders misspent at least $77 million in welfare funds, which would make this the largest case of public fraud in the state's history. And Brett Favre's name is now right in the mix of this. Brett Favre has been in the mix of a couple scandals in his career. This is just one to add in. If it ain't cheerleaders, it's money. So
I don't know, man. That man was sending dick pics to reporters when he was with the Jets. He He was addicted to Oxy while he was winning MVPs in the 90s. That man is the epitome of you only have one life to live.
Whether it's shafting cheerleaders or shafting the economy.
Let's figure out how to send dick pics. Let's defraud the government.
It's all about shafting. It's all right.
Okay, so the one thing I will say about this is that there is no evidence that Brett Favre knew where the money was coming from. There is that. I think that's his only saving grace. Because Mississippi, this is on record. This isn't just being mean against the state of Mississippi. It is the poorest state in the country.
Needs to be relegated.
Yeah, like they might as well put Puerto Rico in there and kick
can we make a trade? PR for
now I'm not even blowing up states and cities. Now I'm just kicking them out of the country.
Ship them over here.
Talk about building a wall.
All right.
But no, it is the poorest state, right? Per capita income. You have more people living in poverty in that state than any other state in the country. So the fact that they were doling out, now not all this money that I'm about to say went to a volleyball center, which I did not know that it was for Brett Favre's kid that she plays volleyball there, because first I was like, why is that the hill that you're going to want to try to die on? Like defraud the state for a volleyball center, like that was weird. But $77 to $81 million. And the crazy thing is that Mississippi, the welfare department at the Mississippi actually hired a lawyer to audit it, to figure out where's our money going, because they didn't even know. So it wasn't a state auditor. It was the welfare being like, listen, man, we kind of feel like we should have some more money, but we don't. Like, they weren't even doing their fucking, like, who was using QuickBooks at the goddamn welfare department of Mississippi? They didn't even know where the fuck their money was.
Mississippi
so they had to
education.
hire a lawyer to do an audit. And then it comes out that this man was just doling out money like he was, riding around in a fucking ice cream truck giving ice cream to kids. He was giving millions of dollars to his wife's best friend's nonprofit organization. He's building volleyball venues. He's doing anything he can for votes, apparently, except putting money in people's pockets that would help. So it's kind of a ass backwards way of trying to get reelected. But no, I think it's terrible. I do typically align with the idea of, I always feel that it's my personal responsibility to put my bootstraps on and make a living for myself and my family. But I understand that I'm given certain means and avenues that not other people are given in life. People need help. And the government is there to help people. The government is there to help put food on the table, to help people when they're down. And what this governor did was kick people while they were down, and use the welfare money, basically try to fund his own re-election campaign by giving money to donors and other people like that. And so I think the whole situation is really sad. I think it's really kind of fucked up that Brett Favre's in the middle of it. But like I said, there is no evidence that he knew that the money he was getting from the state was from the welfare department. Like, he did not know that the money was coming from that fund. I would like to think that Brett Favre wouldn't have taken it if he knew that that's where the money was going to come from, because I don't believe that Brett Favre is that shitty of a human being. I think the governor is that shitty of a human being. In fact, I don't even want to say his name to even give him credence, except I think his ass needs to be behind bars. Like, that's just fucking ridiculous. That's just one of the million reasons why people don't trust the government these days.
Right.
So.
Yeah, whether he knew or not, if he didn't have any kind of track record, I could kind of chalk it up to maybe he actually didn't know. But based on what he's done in the past, it's like,
okay. sending dick pics isn't the same as like, hey, can you give me $10 million from the welfare department so we can build?
Not just that. He said some odd things too. I just wouldn't put it past him, is what I'm saying. Yeah.
But you really think that if Brett Favre knew that those millions of dollars were coming from the welfare budget, that he would have still taken it?
Yeah, apparently there was a text message that he sent that asked, could this be traced back to me? I mean, he knew he was up to something kind of shady, so I don't know. I'm just saying I wouldn't put it past him.
Hey, that mentality of money is money. You can spend it either way, so
as long as that money is greed.
Exactly.
I do vote for that. If we could, Mississippi could just eject, and then we could swap that with Puerto Rico. I think that would be.
I mean, we could also, listen. I'd take the Dominican Republic. They got
sure.
baseball players.
Can you imagine Puerto Rico within driving distance?
I've never been to Mississippi. I just went to Puerto Rico recently. I think it fit in just fine. It's not that much different from here. So Mississippi's probably vastly different from here.
Puerto Rico does deserve state there, but that's well beyond the scope of this show.
Yeah.
The intelligence level that we have combined.
Last but not least in the news, last bit of nonsense here. The Suns owner or governor, Robert Sarver, has been suspended for a whole year and fined $10 million after the NBA investigation shows that he violated workplace standards. Do you know how bad at your job you got to be to get fined $10 million and you can't go back in a whole year and you own the damn team?
Okay, but before we get into anything else, before you guys can I just ask this one question about being suspended for a year? Like, what does that even mean? Like, he doesn't get to go to basketball games. Like, he's still going to make money, right? Like, he's still going to make money this year, so he has to watch his team on TV. Like, what
shame.
What?
It is pretty like.
I'm sorry.
I guess it's the best they can do.
To me, it's just like the whole Dan Snyder thing with the Washington football team. Like, when you suspend somebody and say you can't be around the team, they're billionaires. You think they don't have other things that they can be doing to fill their time?
They're not the coach.
Making more millions of dollars. It's not outside of Jared Jones's crypt keeper ass. Like, no one else.
That would kill him. If you told Jared Jones to be around the team for a year, closed, he would have a heart attack. But Suns thing, apparently Robert Sarver was not the greatest person to be around at work. He had apparently said some racist things, some sexist things, all the shit you should not be saying at work, and the NBA found out about it.
I'm gonna go ahead and let Shaq go first on this one before I go.
All I'm saying
to say about this
is,
situation.
If you own a team in an organization that is probably a good portion of African Americans, I feel like the one and first only requirement is not to dislike black people. That's just my 2 cents. You're becoming a billionaire off of an organization that is majority black people.
I do feel like when people have this much money, they feel like they can just do whatever they want and speak however they want, and not realize or care that people do talk, and this will probably get out on what you're doing and saying. So the fact that this dude felt like he could treat his the people that work for the team, not just players, but the people who work for the organization, that he could just talk how he wanted to them. Apparently, there was a bunch of instances of him berating different people that worked in the front office, him really mistreating and making inappropriate comments towards the women that worked with him. It's 2022. It's not 1822. It is going to get out sooner rather than later, and had it coming to you if that was the case.
First of all, you could have said it's 2022, and you could have said it's not 2002, and it still would have been
Yeah,
Let's not kid ourselves. We are still a ways away from the dream to Martin Luther King. All right, people. Let's be real. But so this man, Robert Sarver. Now, if the name itself
You're up to
leads
no
you to
good.
believe that man does some shady shit. Okay, so he gets suspended for 1 year, $10 million for basically being a racist and a misogynist. So that's great. That's somebody that you want owning a professional franchise. 100%. The things that I found that were laughable about the investigation is that they said it has come to our attention that he has said the N-word 5 times. 5 times. Now, I know that my other wonderful co-host happened to be of African American descent, and I obviously am not. I'm just gonna let everybody know this in case you didn't know it. If you have a white guy, it gets proven that he said the N-word 5 times, I guarantee you he's probably said it about 5 million times behind closed doors. That man was way too comfortable in his own skin. Like, there are just certain things you don't do. Like, I don't know. You stand up for the national anthem. You take your hat off. You wear white if you're a bride at a wedding. You wear black at a funeral. And if you're white, you don't say the N-word. Like, that's just, there's several things that are supposed to be common sense. And he made sexual related comments that lead me to believe that he wasn't just sexually harassing, but one of the reports actually said that he was like propositioning women for sex in return for like advancement in the organization. So the fact that Silver came out today, a day after he announced the suspension. I know, Shaq is like, can I get a job there?
Who's running the team while he's gone?
Shaq's eyebrows just went up and almost broke Jalen's ceiling. He was like, wait a minute. Let me get on that action. But how is it that the NBA can take away the team from Donald Sterling? But then Adam Silver today says, well, we don't have the right to take away his franchise. Donald Sterling's old racist ass is probably sitting in the condos like, what fuck, man?
He's probably furious.
I should still have the Clippers at this point. Like, this man said, I only said the N-word 3 times in that tape. This man verified 5 times. Why does he get his team? Like Shaq said, it's not 90%, but it is 73.2% African Americans play in the NBA in all rosters, right? And I learned this stat today that 62% of personnel working in NBA offices and organizations are women. This man's offended for 70% of the players and 60% of the working force of the NBA, yet he still gets to keep the franchise. I don't understand what type of world we're living in. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me.
But
like, what dirt does Sarver have on Silver? Where Silver's
Right.
like, nah, we don't got the right team.
Insult one of her fellow employees at work.
Right.
I see how fast. Like, nope.
Right.
Off payroll. Go ahead. Just leave.
I'm kind of glad that we're not an incorporated show here yet. Otherwise, Shaq would have had my ass up in HR's office a long ass time. My ass would have had some ethics and compliance cases against me from the get go. If we were an incorporated thing, goddamn. In fact, remind me never to let us become incorporated. I don't care how big we get. We can't get incorporated.
No, God,
Because,
no.
Oh no, we gotta have our own personal HR department.
RHR is G Money.
Oh, okay.
I'm safe. I'm good then.
I'm
good.
You gotta have G Money sitting in the office just laughing at the whole entire show.
I'm good.
And y'all gotta have
In
vaulted
fact,
ceilings just for shits and giggles of it.
G Money would sit me in an office and reprimand me that my joke wasn't better. That's what G Money would do. He'd be like, "You should have But no, Sarver should lose his team. I'd think, you know who I feel bad for? I feel bad for Chris Paul. Why does he keep having to work for racist people? Like, why? He's on the Clippers.
That's true.
Sterling. Now he's like, I can't get away from this shit. He's like, I have a dream too. I don't want to work for a racist boss. Like, God damn it. I feel bad for him. And listen, I don't care what you say. Listen, that man worked for Benson before that. Nothing was proven, but I've seen pictures of Benson. You can't tell me that ass a racist either. I believe it wholeheartedly. So yeah.
Yeah.
Workplace. Send me a defamation.
We just can't stop digging our holes. Workplace misconduct stuff is always the funniest shit to me. It's 10 times funnier though. It's the owner of the franchise.
Guys got to learn to hate women and brown people in your own time. That's all you gotta do.
and these people don't learn.
The
owner's name of Carolina, I don't.
Oh yeah.
But he's a racist, so nobody cares. No one apparently Sarver didn't learn from Donald Sterling. He didn't look at that and was like, well, shit. In fact, I bet you I would love to be able to look up the vote. I bet he was one of the yays to vote his ass out because the owners have to vote you out.
Right.
He probably voted to vote him out, but yet he keeps doing this stuff. Dan Snyder probably voted to kick out the owner of the Carolina Panthers. Look what he was doing for a decade. Like, I mean, come on, people. Just at some point, these people got to learn that no, you can't get away with it. You can't be this person. It's not that you can't get away with it. Like, that's a shitty thing. It shouldn't be about getting away with it.
Right.
Just be a decent fucking human being.
Jesus Christ.
And treat people with dignity and respect. Like, God damn.
Just while you're at work.
Like what we do on the show. Treat people like respect.
Oh, and here's the craziest thing. The craziest thing about the Sarver and the Donald Sterling thing. Donald Sterling lost his team because of things that he was doing away from the organization.
Right.
Conversations he was having with his wife, his team.
Yeah.
This man did it at the workplace. At the workplace. And he gets to keep his team. He's literally walking around the arena and the offices, dropping the N-bomb and proposition people for sex. Totally fine to keep your team. Donald Sterling is having a recorded conversation with his wife at his home, which is half his age. That's disgusting. And then he loses his team. Right? They're both pieces of shit. Why does one get to